Hello and welcome to the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter, and I've been your beat reporter covering the Jacksonville Jaguars for On SI every single day since August 2019. And we are continuing to march through another offseason together. As always, you can find our 100% free 24/7 boots on the ground coverage every single day on social media such as Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. And you can also find us at www.si.com/NFL/Jaguars. Welcome to today's episode of the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. My name is John Shipley. I am your host and beat reporter. Today, we are going to talk about the new dynamic wide receiver duo in Jacksonville. Travis Hunter, second overall pick, and Brian Thomas Jr., the unquestioned alpha dog and number one pass target in the Jaguars offense. Now, I think it's fair to say that coming off the heels of the 2024 season, I think, Brian Thomas had the best season of any Jaguar last year, and to do so as a rookie is incredibly impressive. I think if you're listing the best players on the Jaguars roster right now, there's a very clear, top five between him, Hunter, Lawrence, Trayvon Walker, and Josh Hines-Allen. Obviously, guys like Tyson Campbell, Foye Oluokun are, in the mix as well. But I think those are the five. And I think you probably have to put Thomas pretty close to one. It's a tough call between the four veterans because they've all, done something. I think you can probably make an easier argument for Thomas or Josh Hines-Allen than you can for Lawrence at this point. Trayvon Walker certainly has production, but I think as things stand today, Thomas very well might be the Jags' best overall player, if not best player on offense. And what he did as a rookie was so impressive because he did so many things that he didn't do at LSU. I've openly said, I had a second-round grade on him when evaluating that draft class. I thought when they traded back and drafted him, I thought the more impressive aspect of the move was trading back and getting more picks as opposed to actually selecting him at 23. And I've been proved completely wrong because the beautiful thing about his game is he can really do a little bit of everything. LSU didn't ask him to do that. The one thing when you do go back to his LSU tape that I think, okay, this is the biggest thing I overlooked, is you can see on some of his release packages there and just how he gets off the line of scrimmage that he is just a different athlete. He moves differently than other people in this world, in this sport. And that was one of the biggest pluses of his rookie season. He had great releases off the line of scrimmage. So he got open a lot of the time. He can get open against press coverage. He knows how to, read soft zones. He's a great deep threat. He's a yards after the catch threat. You can use him out of the backfield. He was winning against man coverage, one-on-one. He did a little bit of everything. And Thomas, in my opinion, is a number one receiver, alpha male. This is who your offense runs to kind of guy. To me, I don't have the complete list in front of me, but one of the 10 to 15 best wide receiver talents in football. And he'll only continue to go up as he continues to grow and obviously get more experience. One of the most impressive parts of Thomas's performance was the fact that he did it. Trevor Lawrence was injured for half the year. Mac Jones was in there for the other half. Obviously, dealing with quarterback issues, no matter how you slice it. And then the receivers across them, Gabe Davis was hurt for a lot of the year. It was really ineffective. Christian Kirk missed half the year. Evan Ingram missed a lot of the year. Defenses knew that the ball was going to Brian Thomas. And it still could not be stopped. So to me, if I'm defense coordinators preparing for Jacksonville this offseason, of course, ahead of the draft, it's clear if there's somebody in their offense you have to stop, it's Brian Thomas. And I think that's why the Jaguars went and signed De'Ami Brown the offseason as kind of an auxiliary option, in terms of, okay, if teams are shifting all their attention to Brian, maybe this guy can be somebody who can take advantage of that. Then you add in Travis Hunter to the mix. That same exact equation. Teams simply cannot, I know he hasn't played yet, and maybe this is crowning him early, etc. But I believe in the talent that we saw in college, and I believe that with the full not full, but with a more defined focus on the receiver position and getting NFL coaching day in and day out, from Edgar Bennett, I think Travis Hunter will only be a better receiver than we've seen so far. So adding him, who's a special talent, I've said before, I believe he can be peak Odell Beckham Jr. We've seen other comparisons. Cecil Shorts thinks that he can be the next Justin Jefferson waiting to happen. If he hits a ceiling, he's an absolute elite all-pro level wide receiver, and that is an undisputable fact. So adding that kind of talent across from Brian Thomas, really defenses have two options. They can shift the full focus to Brian Thomas and stopping him and leave Travis Hunter in one-on-ones and also leave Diami Brown against number 3 cornerbacks one-on-one. Or they can say, okay, they have two legitimate explosive number 1 level weapons. We have to attack them more or less the same. That just creates more opportunities for Brian Thomas. So I think Travis Hunter, if Trevor Lawrence was a winner from the draft, and I believe he is, you guys heard me say that on a recent episode, I believe Brian Thomas Jr. is as well. Simply put, defenses do not any longer have the option to put the focus on Brian. Well, they still have the option, but they take it. There's a pretty clear way that option gets the defense burned. And defenses don't want to get burned like that. They don't want to get burned by giving up the big play. So I legitimately believe this can be one of the top wide receiver duos in the NFL as early as Travis's rookie year. I think 2026 is maybe when you see that duo really take off. Hunter with a full season of learning NFL wide receiver under his belt. Thomas going into his 3rd season. Liam Cohen, obviously has the guys knowing the offense, for an extended period at that time. But I believe right away this can be a wide receiver duo that challenges some of the top in the NFL. Obviously, when you think about the elite wide receiver duos in the NFL, the first place the mind goes is T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Some of the other groups, obviously Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, etc. Personally, I think the second best one, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. It might be bold to say that this duo with a player who has yet to play an NFL snap can be that good. But I think it has the talent. They both have impressive catch radiuses. They both are just freak of natures as athletes. They're both in a system that can take advantage of their talents. They both can win one-on-one. They both can win after the catch. And as long as Trevor Lawrence hits his potential, both these guys have the chance to produce quite a bit in 2025 and beyond. So in terms of buying or selling, I am buying the Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas duo. I think it will be very difficult for defenses to defend. And I think a layer of this also is that Liam Cohen knows how to scheme up multiple guys at a time. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans were complementing each other perfectly last season, obviously before Chris Godwin got hurt. But before his injury, he was on a complete tear. So I think Liam Cohen is positioned as the right coach who can get the most out of this duo. And I think just looking at the athletic traits and the potential of the two of them, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have a really impressive and really special duo on their hands. Obviously, one of the best tandems in franchise history is Jimmy Smith and Keenan McCardell. It's way too soon to say this could be the next Thunder and Lightning, but I do think they have a chance to have a special and dynamic wide receiver duo moving forward. Thank you guys for listening. My name is John Shipley. Don't forget to subscribe to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts at the Jacksonville Jaguars Insider Podcast. You can also find us on YouTube, sports videos on SI, and you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at Jaguars on SI. Thank you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.